And today I'm going to teach you guys about UI table views. And so let's get going. More about me. I'm a third year. I'm studying computer engineering, and I initially got into Swift because I wanted to build my own app, and I was in the I2P program last year, and I wanted to build an iOS app over an Android app, so that's what got me into Xcode and the whole Swift environment. I'm also part of the Startup Exchange. I'm an exec member, and actually this Friday we're going to have Chris Klaus stopping by, and if you're interested, there it is. 3:30 to 6 at the garage at Tech Square. So if you're interested, it's going to be over there. So we're going to build the reminders app. It's going to look like this. So you're going to have the plus icon on the top right, and then you just get the alert view and throw in a reminder and stuff like that. So it's going to look like this. Say I want to do eat lunch. And it'll be over here, say, eat dinner, and that's gonna be right there. And I can cross them out, just like that, and I can like mark them done just by tapping on it, and I get the check mark on the right. So yeah. So you're going to be learning about UI table views and how to use them. You're going to learn about guards versus if statements and when to use each one, and delegates, data sources, and along with extensions. So by the end of this class, that should be something you're more familiar with. So table views are very, very popular. You see them on lots of apps. You have Snapchat, you have Netflix app. This is a cell, this is a cell, this is a cell, and then this is a cell, this is a cell. So it's a very popular thing, and if you're going to build an app, most likely you're going to utilize a table view in there. Okay, so let's get into the code. Let's look at this code. All right.
Is anyone here for the first time? Do you guys have Xcode downloaded? You do.
Okay.
Wait, you do not?
Right. I don't know if you have time to do it, so maybe listen today.
Do you have a laptop with you?
Oh yeah, you can use it.
You could use a video.
Or you can show somebody else right next to you. Yeah.
But yeah, I heard you just Google like how to get Xcode on a PC. They said it's like having it in Mac or right up like earlier.
Okay. So moving on, you want to go ahead and create the single view application. Same process like last time. Product name, we're going to call it reminders. And just make sure that storyboard is checked off and none of these are checked. So we're going to hit next and save. Okay, I have a project name, reminders, so reminders 1. Okay, so make sure there's no Git repository being made, and we hit create. Okay, so first things first, we're going to go to the main storyboard, and we're going to want to have it look like this, right? So to do that, we're going to go ahead and first we're going to embed it within a navigation controller. So go to the bottom right and hit navigation controller over here. And what that does is it gives us this navigation bar at the very top, and that's where we can throw in our button, the add button. Okay, so it's called bar button item, and we're gonna take that I put that at the top right. Okay, and then
Yeah, I think you're going
a
a little too fast.
little too fast.
Yeah, it's a 30.
Just
Okay,
make sure
okay,
everyone
okay.
has done
All right,
that. And
are
raise your
y'all
hand if-
are y'all up to speed or? Okay, where did I lose you at?
The navigation
Yeah.
controller.
The navigation
Yeah.
controller. Okay,
Zoom in
so
on how to embed it.
okay, yeah, for sure.
Wait, what template do you use?
What was that?
When you initially made single view.
Oh yeah, single view, and make sure storyboard is checked off. It's checked off. Okay, so you want to embed it in a navigation controller, and you go down over here, and make sure you have this checked off. So it should be in blue at the very top. It should be in blue, and you'd have tab bar controller. You want to click on navigation controller right over here.
It's the box with the arrow down.
Yeah.
I'll catch up.
Okay, and what that does is it gives us.
Otherwise, you can do on edit.
They go to make our story.
Alright, we're good?
No, wait 1 second.
Okay. Yeah, so for navigation, we're gonna throw in the reminders title, and we're gonna have in the add button at the very right. And yeah, are we good now?
Yeah, you can go
Okay,
ahead.
okay. So to get the reminders title, we wanna click on the navigation item. This should be grayed out, or just click on this right over here,
And to the right.
and then click on this right here, and then title should be reminders. So if I zoom in, you'll see title set to reminders.
Did you drag in a navigation bar on the view controller?
No, you just embed it within the navigation controller. It gives you the bar. It gives you the bar.
And then you just change the title to reminders.
Anyone else needs help?
Okay.
Yeah.
And now for the button on the right, we're gonna go ahead and add the element. So button bar item.
You click the plus button up there.
Yeah. Button bar items right over here. And we're gonna want to add it over here. You should see it fit right into place, right into that blue box. And we're gonna set an image. So under the bar item tab, you want to go to image, and for image you want to search for plus, and the plus icon should appear. So
If you go on system item,
where?
there, you can do add.
Oh,
That's just
okay.
another do.
Oh, okay. Well, you have two ways then. Yeah, I just saw it from here.
Yeah, I like custom. It's more, there's way more options. It uses something called SF icon.
Oh yeah?
It's like hundreds of them. And you can actually pull up that application on your Mac. SF icon.
Okay, so we have the top parts done so far. So
Does everyone go to that end? Does everyone have the plus button there or no? Okay.
great. So we have the top portion completed so far. So right over here, we want to go ahead and get the table view. So it's this right here with a bunch of lines inside of it. So we're gonna go in the same spot, look for the table view element. So table view, and then just drag that onto right here. And we want to add the constraint so that it fits the whole entire screen. So we want to set every constraint to 0. So that it fills up the whole entire screen. And it should just pop into place just like that.
How do you get into the edit constraints?
Yeah, you go to the very the bottom right here. What's this called?
The tie spider.
It's not, okay, yeah, so it looks like a TIE fighter. Yeah, so you go to that, and then you just hit 0, 0, 0. Also make sure that when you hit 0, these should be solid red, and these shouldn't, they all should be solid red, so it should be like that. What does that do? If it's not solid red, that means the constraint's not added. When it is, see, like you'll see at the very over here, I'll say add 3 constraints, now it's add 4 constraints, but if they're none are solid, then it's add no constraints.
And constraints are like rules to tell, like how far should a view be from the other. So right now we're telling it to be 0 from the top and 0 from the left. We want it to take up the whole screen.
When you first drag it, it's just in the middle there. These constraints say the spacing should be 0.
Yeah, so when you first dragged it in, it will just look like that. So you could like drag it out like this, but that's not proper. So instead, you want to add the constraints over here. And like we said, we want to like leave no spacing between the margins and the table. So that means we'll leave 0, 0, 0, 0. If you did want to leave some space, then you can do like throw in some random number there, and you'll see like that's the padding between the table and the edges.
And the problem with dragging it out manually is that it may look fine on this iPhone 11, as you see in the bottom left, but it would break on like an iPhone 5 or SE.
Yeah, exactly. So we can go ahead and run this really quick just to make sure that everybody's on the same step.
You didn't set the entry point. Yeah, you need to check off. Yeah.
So this should be checked off over here too.
Yeah.
So go to your navigation controller. So click on the very top of that navigation controller. So this should be blued out, and you should be under the attributes section, and go down to view controller and check off as initial view controller.
It should be automatic, but
It should have been automatic, but I think because I deleted mine and then did it out again. And then let's hit run again. And yeah, so we'll see this, right? So this is our table. And so far the button does nothing. So let's go ahead and add some functionality to it. So we're gonna want to go to the assistant editor, and so your screen should be like that once you click on the assistant editor. So go back there again, just go over here, and then tap on this row right here. And you'll have code and the storyboard side by side. So you want to drag each element onto the code. So you want to control, drag, control, tap, and drag. So let's do the button first. And we're going to add it as an action button and call it, we're going to call it add from one. We also want to drag in our table view. So control, touch, and drag. And we're going to call that just table view. So now that we have it in Swift, we can go ahead and get rid of the storyboard. So want to make a separate tab. Go to.
A lot of people get tripped up on that, so let us know.
Yeah. So now I'm going to this file, the view controller file. Are y'all good? Any questions?
Use control, drag both the button and
we called it add reminder. Like between, right there. And then you connect the table view, but it's output. So kill case it. Yeah. So yeah. T was out, and then table view is table view.
Don't change the name if you misspell it the first time. You do something extra, yeah, we'll do it. Alter apple crap.
Yeah. Anyone?
Any questions?
Variable on the screen.
Okay, so moving on. We're going to go ahead and add functionality to the add reminder button. And we're going to give it an alert controller. And what that's going to do is create that view we had. It's going to create this alert that pops up right over here. Right there. So we're going to give it two options, the cancel button and the save button, and a text field in the middle. And the user enters their reminder and hits save, and we'll add that to the table view. So okay. We're gonna do let action equals UI action.
Oh. Hey, you see,
What's up?
can you explain the lead bar table? Oh, you're saying how you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
What's up?
View control. View control.
We good? Okay. So we want to create an alert. UI alert controller. So this controls that alert view that you're gonna be working on, and we're gonna give it a title. New reminder. Message will be set to nil. If you want to add something, you can say add a reminder, and our style would be .alert. And we want to add that text field to it so the user can enter the reminder. So we're going to have alert.add text field. And so right here, when you get this, you just want to hit enter. So when this whole entire section is booted out, you just hit enter, and it'll give you this code right here, this piece of code. And what this is, it's a closure. So we didn't cover that yet, but it's a function or a chunk of code that we can execute after the after the user enters the text field. So in there, you want to have guard let reminder text alert text field first. So what this does here is it verifies that the text field is not empty, so the user isn't adding any empty reminders. And that's right. Yeah, so we want to make sure that the user is not putting any empty reminders in. And what a guard does is it says if this statement is true, then don't execute this block within here. So I have a quick slide on that. So going over here, if age on the left side, if age is greater than 0, then we don't execute the code inside that block. But if it is less than 0, then we want to execute that code within the block. If you look at the other side, you see what the equivalent would look like on a if-else statement. So it just looks a lot more cleaner with a guard versus an if-else. And yeah, they're pretty similar, but it just looks a lot cleaner. So let's go back. Okay, so what this is saying is if the text field is empty, we want to go ahead and just break out and do nothing.
Well, it's not doing it as empty, it's like if it exists.
Well, yeah, if it exists.
Because you would also have to check if it's empty in another guard flag.
Well, if text exists within it,
But it could still be an empty string.
like a space.
Not just like empty string. It could still be. Doesn't matter too much, but just checking that it exists.
Yeah. Okay, so
Actually, would you have been no?
it'll be nil, but like if we were, that's what.
But like if it's empty string, then it would keep going. So you could add.
No, this checks if the first text
No,
view.
he's right there. But in this
Okay.
case,
It's a minor note.
Okay. Where are we at? Okay, yeah. So we're checking if it's empty. If it's not, if it's there and it has a value, we want to go ahead and add it to a list so we could put it onto our table view, right? So let's create that list, and we're gonna do var reminders equals an array of remind. Okay, and we're gonna create reminder right now, and so go copy and paste that. So go outside of the class view controller, and you're gonna create your own struct. So do struct reminder, and let's see. And we want to give it two values. So we want to give it the text, so what it's gonna, the reminder it's gonna have inside, and we want to say, we want to know if it's completed or not. So this is going to be a boolean, and text would be a string, and we want to throw it. We want to have a function that would toggle is completed, and so completed equals completed. Okay. And since this is struct and we're changing a value that's outside of the function, you have to have mutating, and that should clear the error. So you should have now a struct and a view controller class side by side. Does everybody have that? Yeah.
In Swift 5, I think you can just do completed dot toggle, and it's built in the Swift language.
Okay.
Swift 5.2.
Toggle. Okay. Go
But
ahead.
then you could just not even use that method that you take from.
So just completed.
no.
Right, you just go toggle.
Okay. And get rid of this.
You just get rid of that whole function, right? And you could just call completed dot toggle.
I got you. Okay. So, where are we at? Okay, so now we have the reminder class, the reminder struct built, and we want to go ahead and add reminders into that reminders list of ours. So, so right over here, so right after the return and right after the guard statement, pretty much, you want to add this. So self dot reminders dot append. So you want to add the new element, and that's going to be of the class reminder, and we're going to have to give it a text. So this is what the user gives us. This is going to be this this string right here. So we can just go ahead and copy and paste that into there. And it's completed, or completed, we'll just say false, it's not completed. And yeah. Okay, so then after the next curly braces, we want to go ahead and add this line, present. We want to present the alert controller, so we called it alert, and animated will be set to true.
So I think I talked about it last time, but like that code after the in keyword is not gonna run at the same time as the rest. It's like an asynchronous block of code, so it will run when you press on the button. So yeah, so we'll add the reminder to the array only when we press on the button. So the code that says guard let and self the reminder to the defender.
So this is inside this block right here. So this is asynchronous.
So it won't run at the same time as present.
Yeah. So we can go ahead and give this a run and see what that does. We tap on that, and we should get this U right here. Granted, we want to have the actions on it, so we want to have the cancel and the save button on there. So for that, we're going to go ahead and all right, so outside of the text field, so before the present, let's do alert dot add action. And for action, we want to do UI alert action title. On the one action we want to have is the cancel action, and the style would be .cancel, and handler will just say nil for that. And we want to have the save action too, so alert.add action. So we have two actions now. Title should be save, and default to the style. And the handler will just hit enter at it, and it'll give us this block of code again. And we'll just throw in the underscore because we don't want the argument over here. And okay, actually grab this right here and throw it where this code's supposed to be. So what I just did was like the code we had over here was over here. You got that? Yeah, so just copy and paste that code over here. And then here, add text field. Let's do the text field thing again. So just erase that and do alert dot add text field.
You would use the closure there if you wanted to add a placeholder, for example. So you could do like text field, and then you could say like text field out placeholder equals type or reminder here.
Yeah, so text field.
Yeah, so that block of code of reminders as append needs to be there, because we want to run it when someone presses on save, right? If you click on save, we want to add the reminder, not when we're adding the text field.
Okay, yeah. My bad on that. So what we should have is the text field, and as the argument, we should have text field over here, and the placeholder should be take out trash, and then two actions. So the cancel action and save action. Within the save action, we want to have that block of code we're working on. to the whole guard and everything, and appending it to our list. And after that, we have the presents. Okay, so we want to have that. We want to have the alert when we run this. We want to have the text add to the table view. So if you ran this, you'll hit the plus icon, you'll hit eat food, hit save, nothing happens. It's because you're not appending anything to the table view. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So this is where extensions come in handy. We could add more code to here, but just out of cleanliness, we want to go ahead and go to the very bottom. So underneath the view controller class, so go outside of there, make sure you have the very last curly brace, do extension, and the same class name, right? It's the view controller. And we want to extend UI table view delegate, so it's this right here, and UI table view data source.
So right now we have an array of reminders, and like we're adding reminders to the array, but it's not appearing on the view because we haven't hooked up that array to the table view. So in the code, the reminders are being created, but they're not being added to the view. So that's what he's going to do.
Yeah. Okay, so alright, so what we just did there was we used delegates, and you saw we extended a delegate and we extended a data source. So when you ever create a table view, the table view wants you to answer a few things, such as how many cells is that table going to have, and how would each cell look. That's what happens when you extend a UI table view data source. And when you extend the delegate, you have to answer similar questions. So over here, delegator would be the table view, and it's asking a few questions, such as how high, how tall should each cell be, and other questions like that. And the delegate we set would be the view controller class itself. So going back to the code, so you have this. You want to tell the table view that the view controller class is the delegate. So go to your view did load and have table view dot delegate equals self, and table view dot data source equals self. Okay. So that's basically telling the table view that you're going to get your data from us, from the view controller, and you're going to get your styling from the view controller. Okay. Does everybody understand delegates, or was that too quick? Yeah. Good? So when you extended UI table view delegate and data source, is going to give you this little error over here, and you're going to have to fix it by adding this protocol stub. So just hit fix over here, and it gives you these two functions. And the first, it's asking you how many rows are going to be in each section. We're going to go ahead and say return reminders dot count. And then the second function, it wants to know how would each cell look, how would the styling look. So you want to get the text for each cell. So we have index path, and index path represents the index of the cell we're looking at. And we can do reminder equals reminders index path dot row. And then the cell equals table view cell, so go down to UI table view cell. And we want to set the text of the cell to the reminder. So we'll do cell.text label dot text equals reminder dot text. Then we okay, so we'll keep it like that. We want to return cell. Okay. And we also want to okay. And we also, when we go back to the alert, so go back to the very top. Now that we have the table view created, we can go ahead and add the add that row to the table view. So we'll just go self.tableview.reload data. Make sure that self.tableview.reload data is underneath the append. And go ahead and run this. So now you'll have the task on there, but it doesn't have the swipe functionality or the check mark stuff yet. So let's go ahead and do that. So going back to the
Well, do people think that functionality would be in the data source or the delegate? Because we got the UI table view delegate, which is doing one thing, and then we got the table view data source, which is doing another. So we could guess that it's not the data source because it doesn't have to do with that. And you could even separate the extension even further and say just extend the delegate here and just extend the data source there. So it's going to be delegate. But in this view, you don't really recognize that. Because the delegate, if you, could you command click on UI table view delegate to jump into that, the definition? You'll see the definition for all the different functions that the protocol defines. And a protocol is exactly what it sounds like. It's just something. Delegates are protocols, right? But protocols are more than just delegates. But a protocol defines, it's like an interface in Java. It defines these different methods that you can call. And we're only using a small fraction of them. Actually, right now, we're not using any.
We're going to use this one.
Yeah, so we're going to start using some of them.
We're going to use one of them, height for ROAD.
Select ROAD.
Yeah. But going back to this function, so cell for ROAD, going into here, we want to go ahead and when you tap on the cell, we want to let it gray out, right? Make it a little bit dim, and have the check mark there too. So we'll do if reminder completed cell dot accessory type we'll just go for check mark over here, and then cell dot text label question mark dot. So we're just changing the opacity with this right here, so making it a little bit dim. And then if it's not completed, then we'll just do cell dot. We'll just keep it to nothing. And opacity is at 1. So it's not dim at all. And we want to go ahead and add an extra function. So just do did select row add, and just typing did select and hit enter would give you that block of code right there. So we do reminders, index path dot row, and then completed toggle table view dot reload data. So when you tap on a cell, we're going to go ahead and toggle the completed status, and we're going to reload the data for that table view. And by reloading the data, you run this function again. So each cell will run through this again, and if it's tapped, then it'll execute this. So it would have a check mark, and the alpha would be 0.5. So we can run this, and
You can also update an individual cell, but it's easiest to update the entire table too. Which is really good.
yeah. So let's do eat food. So tapping on it, I don't know if you can see that, but it's a little bit dim, and the check mark's there, right? And you can't really swipe, not yet. So we're gonna do that right now. So adding 2 more functions, we want to do table view and just editing style. So to enter on that, do y'all see how I got there? Just type in editing style, table view, editing style, and it should be the first one there. So we'll do if editing style equals delete. We want to pop it from the array. Reminders dot remove. Self dot table view dot delete row. Okay, so this is saying remove the that item from our list, and running this right here would remove it from the table view with the fade animation. Let's also go ahead and just set the height of each cell. So height for row at, so that should be the first one over here, and just return. I'll do 70 and hit run on that. All right, so let's add something. Study. And then we'll work out and sleep. So you can tap on them, and double tapping will go back to normal. Tapping once would be checked off and dimmed, and then swiping would delete them. So that's it. Yeah. So that's the app. But yeah. So extensions, if that didn't make sense, it allows you to extend any class. So over here you see an extension for int, and you can add in your own variables in there. You can add in your own functionality. to the int class, even though it's not a class that you created, which you can piggyback off the existing code by using an extension. But yeah, that's about it for me.